So I apologize. My Korean is very poor, so I'm going to have to speak in English today. So I apologize for the for that. But good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Yongsang Tukgang. So my name is Will Schaefer, and I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you about the 75 years that Boeing has worked together with Korea to really kind of grow and develop here, and also work together with Korean aerospace industry. So I've been with Boeing for almost 12 years, both here and then also over in Japan. I've been a country leader, but also before that, I spent almost 7 years in Boeing's supply chain organization, understanding and working with many of our suppliers and many of our engineers on what we're supporting our future programs with. Prior to being at Boeing, I had a variety of roles, but that also includes almost 10 years in the United States Navy as a pilot for the P-3. And I spent several deployments where I did interactions or flew out of Korea back in the late 90s. And actually did some missions with the Korean Navy team as they were flying their P-3s, which is part of the reason why I'm wearing a Korean Navy tie today to honor my comrades that are flying here in Korea. So enough about myself. We'll go ahead and step forward. I wanted to start a little bit with Boeing and Boeing's history before we jump into Boeing here in Korea. Boeing has actually been around for 109 years. We officially started in 1916 in the Puget Sound. That picture there in the top left of your screen is what we call the Red Barn, which is the original Boeing building. That's where they designed the first aircraft, which is down there on the bottom right. That's the B&W seaplane. Which was used to carry mail around the Pacific Northwest, especially an area that was surrounded by water, so they needed seaplanes to get around to a lot of the islands to carry mail. And that was one of the first products that Boeing has built. Across our history, we've got a long history in aerospace, obviously. We were heavily involved in World War II with the B-29. We also ended up being part of the team that helped put the first man on the moon with the Saturn V program. We've continued to grow in both our commercial and defense products and have a long history of acquisition too. We've combined many famous aerospace companies, and that's what makes up the Boeing name now, which includes companies. Right now we're divided into 3 business units. And that is how our global organization is aligned, is really underneath all of these 3 business units. Most of the people that are here in Korea or in other countries actually support these 3 business units. The first one is our commercial airplanes business. I would bet most of the folks in this audience have flown on a Boeing product. This is what we provide to many of our customers, including Korean Air and many of the airlines here, with both the 737, which is our largest selling aircraft that we've ever had, the 747, which Korean Airlines was one of the 5 largest customers for, or even the 787, which fortunately for me, I've had several opportunities to fly on Korean Airlines Korean Air between here and Seattle, and they've got a great 787 that actually operates that route right now. We also have our defense business, and our defense business is got a variety of great products, both in the fighter or the air dominance arena, where we have products like the F-15 and the F-18, as well as we've just been selected for the F-47 program. As well as some unmanned products such as the MQ-25 and the MQ-28 that we do down in Australia. We have commercial derivatives that we do under our defense umbrella, which includes things like the P-8, the E-7, and our KC-46 tanker, where we've taken a commercial aircraft and put that into military use. And then we also have within our defense division is also our space arm, which includes both rockets as well as satellites. So a wide, diverse set of products that we have underneath our defense and space and security unit. And then finally, and one of our very important business units is our services business. And this is a business unit that we really took from our commercial and our defense businesses and spun it out in and of its own, partly because we've learned that in order to best serve the customer, sometimes it has to operate as a business in and of its own. So our services business has grown from about $16 billion worth of revenue to over $21 billion worth of revenue, and is very focused on that aspect of helping our customers operate and use our products around the world. So Korea, as I start this journey on our history with Korea is a very important aerospace market, just in general, and we consider it an important market for Boeing. It was considered by PricewaterhouseCoopers as one of the top 3 aerospace markets for investment. Really, a very important piece, because that means it's a very vibrant economy to invest and grow your aerospace footprint. But also, I think, and that hits to the market size. Over the next 8 years, they expect the aerospace market here in Korea to grow from around $15 billion to almost $30 billion. So a real growth market for aerospace, which is a part of the reason why we think this is a very attractive market and an important partner for us in our global footprint. In addition, it's a very important commercial market. Korean Air, with the new combination between, or the new airline that they formed between Korean Airlines and Asiana, will be one of the largest, one of the top 10 airlines in the world as far as passengers carried. And Incheon is now in the top 3 for international routes. So you've got one of a very important commercial partners in the world here with Korean Airlines, and you've got one of the busiest airports especially for international routes around the world, which all point to the fact that and you've got actually here in Korea the trip from Gimpo to Jeju is one of the most traveled routes for airlines in the world. So you've got a very important market here on the commercial side. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our journey that we've had that started back in 1950 and continues today and will grow over time. And we've had quite a few milestones that we've walked through with the Korean with Korea and the Korean industry. Our partnership started with the F-51 that was first delivered really about 2 weeks and 75 years ago on July 3rd, 1950, when the first time is that the P-51 or the F-51 was operated here in Korea by the ROK-AF Air Force, or ROK Air Force. And that was the first chance for Korean pilots to take to the skies and defend their country back in during the Korean War. So a very important milestone, and that's actually the start of our relationship with Korea as a Boeing company. In that same year, we delivered our first DC-3 to Korean National Airlines, which is the parent or the government airline that eventually became Korean Airlines. And so the DC-3 is one of the first, our very famous products that was used to support in the 1950s the birth of a lot of air travel that happened. And Korean Airlines, or Korean National Airlines, was one of our early customers in that product, and able to carry that name and the DC-3 in the region. So that is the start of our relationship with Korea. A lot of it was about selling products, and in the early years. You can see the next one really is around the F-4, and this one, Korea was one of the 4th largest customers overall of the F-4. The first F-4s, as we move into the 60s, was delivered in 1969. And Korea's Air Force actually took both the D model as well as the reconnaissance model, the RF-4C, and use those to operate to protect the Korean airspace for quite some time. I think almost 190 fighters were delivered to Korea, fighter and reconnaissance aircraft, and they became an important capability that Korea had. But not only that, they just finally retired the last one last year. So this important program was here for quite some time. In that same year, we actually Korean Air was actually created as a company. It was spun off from the government and was established as Korean Airlines in 1969. And then they bought their first jet aircraft. This is a modification, or this was a variant of the 707 called the Boeing 720. And this aircraft was used for basically designed for probably shorter flights than the 707, but carrying more passengers. So the first aircraft was delivered in October of 1969, and that first aircraft arrived here. 2 weeks later, it was put into service on the inaugural route, which includes both Seoul to Osaka, Taipei, Hong Kong, Saigon, and Bangkok. And the Seoul-Bangkok route was actually the longest route that was flown in Asia during that time period. This aircraft actually was very important during that period of time because the support that was being provided by Korean Air for the Vietnam War, this aircraft actually carried a lot of soldiers and equipment into Vietnam to support the war effort in Vietnam. So in 1972, Korean Air entered the jumbo era. We sold them. They received their first two 747s. It was a 747-100, and that aircraft was delivered, I think, May 2nd of 1973. And that when that one went into service, it actually started serving the route between Seoul and Los Angeles. A very important route, and actually brought Korean Air into the Trans-Pacific transportation, which helped them grow considerably. Korean Air went on to go accept 88 747s over the course of their time period that they operate the 747s, and they still do, and was one of the fifth largest customers from Boeing of the 747. So a high number of 747s and a very important aircraft for Korean Air. This photo you see was a very first 747 as it was on the production floor in Everett, and it was called the Biak, was the name of the aircraft. So very first one, known as the Biak. So 1975 was our very first, as Boeing, our very first introduction and interaction with Korean industry, and the start of our relationship with Korean industry. Korean Air had been designated an aircraft maintenance and assembly manufacturer in 1975, and we started having discussions from Hughes Aircraft about an opportunity to work together on the MD-500 helicopters. So by 1976, there was essentially an agreement was signed that allowed Korean Airlines to produce the MD-500. Basically establishing it as a facility to produce. I think they produced over 100 MD-500 helicopters out of Korean Air underneath that deal with Hughes. And then in February 1979, Korean Air actually was able to expand that to be a contractor for the U.S. military and support essentially a lot of the maintenance and refurbishment that needed to go on within the Pacific region here. For many of the Air Force programs or Air Force and Navy programs, including F-4s, F-15s, Apaches, and CH-47s. And this kind of really marked a big journey that Korean aerospace industry has embarked on to go build their capability around producing, world-class products that you see here in Korea now. So in 1984, we actually introduced the Boeing 747-300 stretched upper deck version. This is where we started to expand the passenger capacity. And an important piece on this is that this one, when we actually ran it through test, actually was introduced with Korean Air's livery. It was one of the first customers for the 747-300 stretched upper deck. In addition, in 1986, shortly after that, we started to sign some of our first procurement deals with Korean Air on providing parts into Boeing programs. So this is where we started establishing a supply chain that started to come from Korea, particularly from Korean Air. So we move forward to 1987. And this is on the defense side. We started to introduce the Chinook here in Korea. And Korea is now the fourth largest operator of Chinooks, with almost 49 aircraft operating here in country. The Chinook has been a game changer for much of the force logistics, both here in Korea and around the world, in being able to support many of the troops and be able to get goods and weapons, ammunitions, and supplies into our troops areas, as well as transport troops. So we started in 1987, and again are working closely with Korean industry in some of these programs to help support these aircraft in both the Korean and U.S. forces here in the region. So we move forward to the 1990s. We really start to see an expansion or growth of the types of parts that we start working with Korea in. You see on the, as the collaboration started to advance and we launched our 777 program, Korea actually played a large part in providing both wingtip structures as well as underwing flap fairing covers to support that program. And in part of that work, we started to actually work through having Korean airlines be involved actually in the design stage. So moving not just as a parts manufacturer, but actually being able to provide some of the design work that needed to go into both the part and the production system to be able to support the aircraft. We'll see in a little bit how that gets carried forward into both the 787 program as they became a major part of the 787 program. In this, basically, Korean Air developed the capability both in wingtip structure as well as in the flap fairings that we ended up using them both on the 777, the 717, as well as on the 737 for some of those parts. As we move into 2000, we move into the F-15K program, which really kind of grows that partnership that we had with the Koreans, both the Korean Air Force as well as the Korean industry. The F-15K program, essentially there's currently 59 F-15Ks here in Korea. Many of them had a large amount of content from Korean industry, where companies such as KAI, Hanwha, and LIG Next One, LIG Next One, have led some of the production of critical components, including some of the navigation and avionics systems, as well as some of the flight controls. In addition, there was a fair amount of assembly work that actually happened. Almost 40% of the manufacturing and 25% of the assembly work actually happened here in Korea with our partners. This program, was originally signed in 2002 and first delivered in 2012. And the important part of this is essentially Korea has now upgraded or signed a contract to upgrade this platform to the best in class now, which actually will put it pretty close to our F-15EX that is currently being bought by the U.S. Air Force with the same level of capability around EW and radar. So a great interceptor and a very important part of the force structure here in Korea. Also in the 2000s, we signed our first deal with Korean Air to actually design and build the Section 48 aft fuselage of the 787. Many of you who may be familiar with the 787 know that this is one of our most successful airliners that we've had, both in how fast it's gotten to 1,500 deliveries or to over 1,000 deliveries. And also how popular it is with the airlines. This aircraft continues to be sought after by many airlines, and we continue to see growth in the amount of demand. Korean Air did the work around both design and build of the aft Section 48, which is the very, very back end of the aircraft. So this is the first time that they were doing composite structures. And acted as a tier 1 supplier to Boeing, where they actually did some of the design and as well as the supply chain work. And this has grown the capability in composites at Korean Air significantly in their ability to work with primary structures and composite materials. As we move into the 2010s, we have a couple of defense programs that we talk about. First is the E-7 program, which is a very important aircraft for air dominance, for airspace control operations. Essentially, utilizing the PSI radar, this aircraft is able to track and maintain and understand what's going on in the airspace, and essentially is designed to replace what's been a long state of the military world, the AWACS. So it can track and detect and track multiple targets simultaneously and helped drive intercepts for getting aircraft in to go intercept. An important part of this is the partnership that we had with KAI in this program. With the E-7, a significant portion of the modification of these aircraft, and this is a military derivative, was actually done together with KAI as they helped get it ready for the Korean market. We also signed a deal and started delivering in 2016 Apache aircraft here to Korea. And the Apache actually is a very important aircraft because many of the fuselages, both for what the ROK Army used as well as what many of our international customers have been using, were actually built at KAI from 2002 to 2022. Almost 726 fuselages were built at KAI during that time period. And now the Apache is one of the most important attack helicopters out there, providing air superiority, both with the reconnaissance and its strike capabilities, to be able to help manage the battlefield out there. And it's been a significant capability add to the ROK Army here with the 36 Apaches that are currently in place. As we move into the 2020s, I'll touch on another military derivative, a very important one that, as I talked about, I was a P-3 pilot. At this time, the Korean Navy is actually starting to replace their P-3s with the P-8 aircraft. The P-8's built off the 737 derivative, so it utilizes a 737 fuselage. But what's inside is much different. It's a world-class capable aircraft on both doing maritime patrol, but also anti-submarine capability, which is much needed here in Korea in the environment that the Korean Navy operates in. In that the P-8 actually is they currently have 6 P-8 aircraft here. And an important part is that the empennage and the wingtips here are actually built within Korea for this aircraft. So a very important piece. All right, I apologize. I know it's a long trip through our history. So I'm getting now to where we are right now. So right now, Boeing has just hit, as I mentioned, our 75-year anniversary with Korea and our partnership here. With that, we have almost 240 aircraft that we've sold to commercial airlines here. Most of that is in Korean Airlines, Korean Air. But we do have a pretty wide set of customers with many of the low-cost carriers that operate here in Korea, including T-Way, Jeju, Air Premia, and others. So Korea is a very important market in that sense and continues to grow. But in addition to the commercial aircraft, we have almost 140 defense platforms here, both with the F-15, the CH-47, the Apaches that I hit on, the Chinooks, the P-8, as well as E-7s. Very big force here and a very important part of the Korean force structure. In addition, with our partnership with Korean Air on pilot training, we're helping to operate the flight training center here that's located out at Incheon. And we do almost 9,000 simulator events a year to help keep the Korean Air pilots current and be able to perform to what they need to do. We also have a supply chain here where we buy almost $325 million worth of parts a year from Korea. Not just from some of the majors, but also from small tier 2, tier 3 companies that are providing a lot of the structural parts and machine parts into our production system. I think another piece to touch on really is that's not on the slide, that isn't hit here, but is our contribution to the community. We give almost $500,000 a year to support the Korean community through various programs, both scholarships at universities, as well as to support some of the families of our sailors and airmen here of the Korean Air Force and the Korean Navy. And then finally to support education programs that help advance STEM and aerospace here in the community. And then, lastly, and I'll touch it briefly here, but I'll hit it mainly on the last slide here. Almost half of our workforce here is out of an organization that we call Boeing Korea Engineering and Technology Center, which is really over 100 engineering roles that we have here in Korea. And it's essentially about half of our workforce. So I'll touch on that next. Our Boeing Korea Research Center or Engineering and Technology Center essentially has almost 100 engineers and will continue to grow. But it's really about finding Korean technologies or technology here in Korea that will focus on growing capabilities both for our aerospace divisions and really advance Boeing's knowledge. A big part of what we're doing in our engineering tech center is really about software and data systems, and much of that software and data systems support software that goes onto our product, as well as some of the work that they're doing in avionics and supporting our avionics systems. We also do work around artificial intelligence, and we have almost a third of the engineers that are working in that site figuring out how we identify where artificial intelligence actually works together with our production system and our operations to help drive the AI. And then finally, we have quite a bit in systems engineering that's going on within BKATC. So very important place. We've got a lot of things that we're advancing in BKATC. So last, very important part of where we're headed here in Korea. I think, as I mentioned earlier, we find this a very important market. I can't tell you enough how important the innovation is here. That as we look at how Korea has advanced, both on the, as our economy has advanced, but also how they've advanced as an innovator in defense and aerospace. You see the defense side with products like the KF-21, the FA-50, that Korea has put themselves in the place of wanting to expand their defense capabilities and their ability to design and build. We want to partner together with that. We see that innovation as a way of how we can drive the future. So, our intent is to tap into the innovation and growth, partner with Korean industry around how we can help provide or design or develop products that work both for Korea and beyond, as Korea wants to grow its capability around defense exports. But also partner with Korean industry on the commercial side, and we have a fair amount of things that we're looking at that might help grow their position in the aerospace supply chain, but also create stronger partnerships and help us advance both our manufacturing capability, but also how we think about folding technology into the process. So, we look forward to partnering for another 75 years and longer with Korea after we've done this. So, we look at it as a partner in innovation and an opportunity to change the future together.